Hello and welcome to the fourth part of our current walkthrough. We are experiencing Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. And we're going deeper and deeper into Valravn's realm, dealing with his illusions as they come. So let's see what the game has in store for us next.
Do you know what it's like to leave everything behind? Your home, loved ones, to head deep into the wilds, perhaps never to return. Senua does. Because when darkness speaks, it changes everything, turning home into a foreign land and loved ones into strangers. Exile makes sense when you realize that you were never really home in the first place.
That's all well and good, but it does have a flaw, this plan. And the flaw is that you can never escape from yourself. You can never run far away enough from yourself. And you might have that inclination, you might believe that leaving the world that you know behind will do good to you, but that is pretty much a falsehood, and it relies on a false assumption, and that assumption is that leaving your loved ones behind, also leaving the world that you know behind, also means that you leave yourself behind alongside them, which is not the case actually. And we all know that cliché that home is where the heart is, but in this case it might actually be accurate, because when we feel depressed, when we feel like we have nothing to hold on to, the people that we love actually provide balance, and they can actually save us from ourselves when we feel that we have nothing left to live for. Large area here. This will probably be a very complicated puzzle. Let's see. And it started raining. The weather tends to reflect Senua's inner turmoil. We also have these effigies of Valravn all over the place.
The song. Valravn's song. It's over here. It's over here.
Is that?
No, it's here. There's two.
It's probably a very dissonant song.
Listen, because it's magic. It's magic. She's been in the forest like this before. This reminds her of somewhere.
The forest.
Where? Which forest? The forest in the wilds.
The wilds.
She left him in. No, she went to the wilds a long time ago. Why did she go to the wilds?
She wanted to fight her own darkness. She thought she could beat her own darkness.
Did she beat her darkness?
No. It nearly killed her, but she tried.
Druth. Druth helped her.
If it wasn't for Druth, she'd be dead.
She can't beat her own darkness. She wanted to marry Dillian.
She came to beat her own darkness and marry Dylan. But she didn't work.
So
She
the
thought
game
her
basically
curse
suggests that
She
Druth's
thought her
darkness
spread to him.
saved her from her own.
She thought she'd bring the darkness
Basically.
to him too.
She nearly died.
She thought the curse made her tainted.
She replaced her own demons with the demons of another. And that allowed her to move on. Dillian was dead at this point, so he could no longer be her home. So she chose Druth, and Druth replaced Dillian as an agent of familiarity, you could say. This is a pretty complicated puzzle. It is multi-layered. This area is overwhelmingly huge. It resembles a memory that she creates within herself, within her mind. And we need to find a way across this chasm. Okay. We are on the other side of the chasm. Let's see what we find here. So we can go over there. Let's try to get into this tower here.
The ravens.
The ravens.
They've gone.
They've gone.
No.
Half of them have gone. They've gone.
Some are still there.
But where? Some are still there.
No, Raven's helping.
No, he's not helping.
It's true.
Okay, so we dispelled part
Out in the
of
wilds,
this illusion.
in the cold winter woods,
Where?
she no longer felt fit for this world. She almost gave in to the darkness. Almost. But she remembered Dillian's words. She remembered her promise. She resolved to fight on and kill that which had become a part of her.
Let's lower this drawbridge. How can we align these symbols? Wow. The reality is completely falling apart.
The Northmen say that Odin and his brothers killed Ymir, and that the world of men was formed from his corpse. They made his bones into stone, and his flesh into earth, and his blood into the salt sea. They set his skull to be the bowl of the sky, and his brains for clouds. Odin and his brothers caught the sparks flying from Muspel and made them into stars. And to protect the new world from the giants, they used Ymir's great curving eyebrows as walls.
So that's like a second Genesis, the Genesis of Midgard, which is different from the Genesis of the world as a whole. How do we get over there? Did this do something?
She has two.
Not from this side.
This is so convoluted. Now the question is, how do we get to the portal on that wall? Can we even do that? Can we? Apparently not. So let's try to order this into a given pattern. There we go. Apparently we didn't have to activate that last portal.
When it comes to the darkness, Flight doesn't want to kill her. Yet, it will gnaw at her, biding its time. Only when she is at her weakest will it strike to kill. Will she find Dillian before her time comes?
One can say that darkness doesn't want to kill her because it is her darkness. And it cannot kill its host. An attribute always needs a substance to exist and to manifest itself into the world. Hello there.
Overcome Valravn's final illusion to face him in his keep. I know you can do it, Senua. You have the sight.
We both saw darkness. We can fight it together.
So... okay, I cannot go through here yet. There's a portal all the way over there, apparently. Here we go. And the debris is removed.
Speak to me, Drew. Tell me a story.
Senua, listen. I will tell you the tale of a man called Findan. The Northmen captured Findan's sister, and his father sent him to pay for her release. But they took his gold, put him in chains, and held him for a day and a night without food and water. Then they released him. I don't know why. Upon his return, his father's enemies in Erin set fire to his home. His father burned to death, and his brother was killed. But he escaped with sorrow in his heart. His father's enemies offered redress for his loss and invited him to a feast. It was at a hall near the sea. But when he went there, they betrayed him to the Northmen, who enslaved him and took him to hell. 6 years later, his slave masters landed on the shores of Orkney, burning all before them. And into that fire, Findan made his escape. What was Findan burnt away that day. But from the flames, a new man stepped forward, and Druth was born. Druth, the man that I am now. And though Findan never set eyes on his dear sister again, I, Druth, have found you, Senua.
I wish you could have seen my home before these dark times.
This is a very important piece of information, again, because it offers context. As I told you in the first part of the walkthrough, Druth is based on a historic character, this Finland that he talks about was indeed enslaved by the Vikings. Then he escaped and lived the rest of his life as a monk on the Isle of Orkney. What is very interesting is that he says the Northmen, when they enslaved him, took him to hell. So he associates Hell and Helheim with the Norselands and the Vikings, which again serves to prove that there is a very thin line between reality, between objective reality and the reality he creates for himself, where Vikings are the Draugrs, are the infernal creatures that want to set the world ablaze, that want to kill everyone. There isn't a clear separation between the individual, the Viking individuals, and let's say their mythological versions, their mythological interpretations. And this is reflected in Senua as well. The Drogs that she fights on her journey might as well be Viking soldiers. And she only sees them as monsters because of her experiences with them and because of Druth's experience with them. Okay. What did this do? Release the drawbridge. Alright. Let's see if we can climb this tree, this Axis Mundi. Apparently we cannot. So let's try to use the portal. Once again, I would assume. And now she can go up. Careful. Yay, the nest of a pterodactyl or something.
The gate is open. Open.
I know it from the wilds. It's coming back for me. I'm still here. Are you too?
Nope, I went to get a coffee, a cup of coffee.
I remember. It didn't end well in the wilds. It never does. You think you can overcome the darkness, make sense of it, and once relief settles in, it strikes out of nowhere, throwing you helplessly back into the maelstrom, drowning your mind in fear, deeper, deeper, dragging you down so far into the void that maybe this time there is no coming back. But there, in the darkness,
Senua,
she remembered what he told her.
hear me. Reach out to me. Senua, take my iron mirror. Look into it, for it is a window into the underworld. Within, you will see the face of the darkness that you fear. And if you focus, like I have taught you to, you will also see that as much as the darkness has you trapped within its veil, it too is trapped within yours. Focus. Focus. Focus.
I see you now. You led me to the wilds. You tracked me there.
That was a really scary scene. It depicts night terrors to almost to perfection, I would say. That feeling that you are paralyzed and you cannot wake up and you are at the mercy of your dreams, basically. At the mercy of your terrors. So now we have the second boss battle in the game against Valravn. So she associated sword with her anger and her torment, and she associates Valravn with her terror and her loneliness. And now we also know the story behind the mirror special attack, this special attack. It's apparently Druth's mirror, and it reflects the idea that through him she was able to see into the underworld better than ever before. Until Druth gave her the mirror, so until their encounter, she was a victim of her fear, of her terrors, of what happened to Gideon, then. But with the help of Druth, she became more than a victim. She understood that she can fight back. And that darkness basically cannot survive without her, because she's the anchor to said darkness. So to a certain degree she has control over it. I like the mechanics of this boss. Damn.
There are too many of them. Find a strong position.
Damn, 3 of them.
Too slow. Ended him. Focus.
This is damn. This is a much better boss than the first one, than Surd. He's much more dynamic, much more responsive, and it takes much more agility to beat. Shit.
Focus.
Damn. I think I just got defeated. Or not yet. Phew.
I never beat you in the wilds, did I? It was an illusion. But not this time.
The mark of Valravn. One of the keys to the gate to Helheim.
In the words of
Hold it in
Carthonasi,
your
down you
mind's
go!
eye.
With every battle, the darkness grows stronger. Every victory bringing her closer to defeat. Unfair, isn't it? In those dark winter nights in the wilds, there were times when she considered letting go. If it weren't for truth, a chance encounter in the wilds, she would not have heard his stories of the Northmen. And she would not have this chance to find Dillion's soul.
I'm coming. I still hear you.
So, it is all connected, but at the same time, one might ask, isn't it all too convenient? Very nice music. So now we have to backtrack again to the main room, and we have a very long way to go.
When she was younger, she would lay in the grass and stare at the clouds. And there she saw them. Elusive, shifting faces. After a while, she could see the faces everywhere. The trees, the mountains, caves.
I like this song. It reminds me of the one at the end of the Gladiator movie with Russell Crowe. Nope. Not through here.
I wonder, can you see the faces too? They're there, if you look for them.
You could see eyes in the trees and the rocks earlier.
Mother.
Senua, you have the sight. Just like I do. Once you can see into the underworld and all the souls within it will see you.
Nietzsche again.
Don't be afraid when they speak to you. I will always be here to guide you.
Did you see her? That was her mother, Galina. She was a priestess, a healer. She taught Senua to see the weave that binds the world together. And it was beautiful. It was a time before the darkness. But when it did come, it first came for her mother. Senua still sees her face from time to time, hidden in the world. Like she's still watching over her. She misses her so much.
So does the darkness have a genetic component or merely a cultural component? Who knows? And we're back to the main room.
With the mark of Valravn and the mark of Surt, you may cross the bridge over the River of Knives to Helheim.
If there aren't orcs beneath this door, or beyond this door, then I might as well quit the game.
Why is she waiting? She
Open the gate.
has to
No,
open the
don't.
gate.
No, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Don't open the gate.
No,
Don't.
she's done it.
Nothingness.
It's so dark. It's dark. The darkness.
Only the dead may cross.
Only the dead may cross into hell.
Truth. Anyone
There is no one here but me.
but you.
Did you think that I would let you go? That you lost me back in the wilds? I will never let you go. You can't get rid of me. I am your shadow. reaching and draw your last dying gasp.
I'm not ready to die.
You will be when you see what they did to your dear beloved. In this waking nightmare, where all dreams come true, you searched for control, a way to pull through. When you were in love, you left you in tears, to smother your furies and banish your fears. But in darkness they came, through stormy black seas they raided these shores. Do you still hear his screams? And now that you're home, he's so far away. They've taken his soul. To these gods you cannot pray. They can break you, but not your promise. Even death would keep you apart. Through his darkness you will find him. In your sword still beats a heart. You fought for love unspoilt by your darkness within. You fought for your dreams. Now there's no way to win. In the head of his corpse lies the seat of his soul. So you must carry his vessel to bring him back home. They can break you, but not your promise. Even death won't keep you apart. Through this darkness you will find him. In your sword still beats.
I love how poetic all this sounds. And it reflects in a very weird and wicked manner what the character experienced when she saw Dillian sacrificed like
See
that.
it in the hollows of your eyes. A gaze averted from life. You ran from it but brought it nearer. Led it to him. An endless suffering, worse than death. And you wanted to surrender, abandon to find peace with the gods. No. The darkness won't allow it. So you will walk into the lair of the beast. Look it in the eye, and you will go to war. This is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
Wow, what a moment. I'm left a bit speechless. It all connects, as I said before. You got to experience some of the moments in Senua's past, and you got to realize that there are multiple elements to this existential puzzle. There was his mother. You got to meet her to a certain extent. So she can be considered a piece of the puzzle, especially since she had the sight as well. So she could be considered another Senua or another victim of the so-called darkness. You also got to see firsthand what happened to Dillian, and you could say that was the moment that set everything in motion, but in my opinion that is not the case. There are multiple moments that can be considered decisive, and they all participated at triggering this existential journey of Senua. She not only wants to save Dillian's soul from the underworld, from the so-called underworld, but she wants to rescue herself from the feelings that she has hidden within herself for so long. And one of them is guilt, of course. She felt guilty that she abandoned Dillian to go on this soul-searching journey of her that ended, you can say, in doom, but it's not a doom that she personally experienced with Valravn and things like that. No. The actual doom that she experienced was coming home to see Dillian sacrificed to the Norse gods. Another moment that triggered her journey was the meeting of Druth, as I just said. He was the one that gave her the mirror, so the ability to fight back against the so-called darkness. And Druth gave her the means to do it, Dillian gave her the purpose to do it. So they are both quintessential characters in this journey of Senua. Apart from that, we're gonna see some other characters from her past, hopefully, and we'll get to understand that this story and Senua's motivations are, at the end of the day, more complex than we first might have thought. So I'm gonna leave you with these conclusions of mine, and we're gonna meet soon enough to play further, to experience Helheim firsthand and see how all these will come to a climax soon enough. So thank you, and until next time.